Hey guys, welcome back to Niche Talk. Today I'm a little bit closer to you, as you can tell, and in this more intimate environment, I want to talk about summer nighttime fragrances. In the previous video, I covered some of my favorite summer daytime perfumes, and I thought that was very helpful because, well, we're right in the middle of this beautiful hot season. So today I have 8 of my favorite fragrances for a hot summer night. And you can't really see them yet because they're a little bit blurred out, but I'm gonna go through them one by one, and at the end, as always, we'll be super excited for your feedback and we'll be excited to hear your suggestions on the most perfect summer nighttime fragrance. I'm gonna start us off with this beautiful bottle right here, and you're probably thinking that I'm holding Torino 21, which is not the case. I know Torino 21 is one of the most popular Xerjoff fragrances on the internet today, and for that reason I wanted to skip it, and I want to give some more love to its brother, actually, Torino 22, which in my opinion, it's the most elegant out of the 3 Torino fragrances that we have today. And it's very different because when we think about Torino 21, for example, it's nice, it's a pretty fragrance, but it has that sporty vibe to it. Whereas Torino 22, in my opinion, is a perfect fit for a more formal event during summer, during nighttime. So what do we actually have here? The opening is not citrusy at all, as opposed to Torino 21. It's more of an aromatic fragrance in general. And in the opening, in the leading notes, we have eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is not the note that you see super frequently in fragrances as a leading note. And here, I can pick it up very well. It's mixed actually with one of my favorite tea notes, with mate. And together, these two play so nicely, and they create this delicate, aromatic, meditative, slightly bitter effect, which is absolutely gorgeous and very addicting. And what's important is that this blend on top is sprinkled with a touch of saffron. And as per usual, saffron tends to give this luxurious vibe to a fragrance, which is exactly what it's doing in Torino 22. You might pick up a little bit of a Baccarat Rouge in here, but not the medicinal blood smell, which, by the way, that's what Baccarat Rouge smells like to me. No, here we just get a touch of saffron for that elevated, classy, luxurious kick. It's a gorgeous fragrance. It's absolutely unisex, so I highly recommend you to check it out. Up next, we have Love Delight from Amouage, which weirdly gives me more of a Parfums de Marly vibes than Amouage vibes. And I think that answers the question why I think it's an amazing choice for a lady as a summer date night fragrance. It's very feminine, girly, and it's also a borderline gourmand, which is how I see most of the fragrances in the PDM's feminine collection. So pretty though. So in the opening we have cinnamon and ginger, and in heart we have almondy heliotrope. But the true flirt of this perfume hides in the base notes, where we get cocoa powder and boozy vanilla vibes. It's not necessarily a femme fatale type of fragrance, it's more of a charming young lady coming from a wealthy, old money kind of background, you know, wearing a minimalistic dress, a Lady Dior bag, and of course a few sprays of Love Delight. I don't talk too much about this brand on this channel, and I think it's a big mistake because it deserves way more love, not just for the beautiful presentation, but also for the juice. If you're not familiar, the brand is called the House of Oud, and the fragrance I want to tell you about today is named Cypress Shade. Cypress Shade is my absolute go-to for a Friday night when we want to grab a quick cocktail with girlfriends after a long week, you know, that type of vibe. So it's very casual, but even in those situations you want to smell nice, pretty, and classy, and that's exactly what this fragrance is gonna give you. It's green, but it's powdery and delicate at the same time. And I call it Loro Piana of fragrances because it's really very elegant. We have a unique combination of mimosa and mint in heart of this fragrance, and in the base you get dry woodsy notes like cedar and vetiver. And when I tell you guys that it's a really unique work, I mean it. I've smelled a lot of perfumes and I haven't encountered quite anything like Cypress shade that would balance green, bright, sharp notes with creamy floral notes so well. Very elegant, very elegant, and again, one of my top recommendations for this summer. So we already covered some of the cute feminine stuff, and now I want to present a fragrance to you that will bring that femme fatale moment to the season. And it's called Soir Extrait from BDK. This is a younger sister of another fragrance that I consider the sexiest and most aphrodisiac-y perfume of all time. And the one that I'm referring to is called Psychedelic Love by Nisho. So if you're familiar with that one, they share a very similar vibe, except Soir Extrait is much fruitier. So we get a pear note here, we get quince, we get peaches, but most importantly, in the heart of this fragrance, we have borderline indolic, animalic, white floral block. And by indolic, I'm not saying that it's gonna smell like poop, it's not gonna smell like a dirty dog. Honestly, everything is in moderation in this fragrance and it's not gonna give you any repulsive thoughts. I actually have a very specific association that comes to mind with this fragrance, and that is, imagine you're in the field of wild poisonous jasmine, and in the middle of this field there's a little witch house, and inside the house the witch is making jammy fruit-based love potion. How's that for an association? Very bright, sassy, juicy, provoking, and sensual fragrance to me. I would definitely wear this as a date night perfume in summer. Depends on your goals, of course. When I smelled this fragrance for the first time, I immediately said that this is my favorite oud ever. And it actually still is. I clearly don't come from a Middle Eastern background, so for me it's not very easy to rock oud fragrances on a daily basis. I just simply physically can't do it. I belong to the category of people who require this note to be presented in a little bit more contemporary and playful way for me to be able to tolerate it every day. So this is precisely what I get from Oud Marakuja. It's just so unique, so rich, so adventurous and luxurious at the same time. It's wow. Oud Marakuja is based on a classic Oriental fragrance luxury foundation of rose, oud, saffron, and amber. And this luxury is drowning in super juicy passion fruit puree. It's amazing, guys. So the passion fruit puree is not very sweet, but rather tart. And the juiciness in this fragrance is through the roof. It's not shy. It's really a sour, fruity burst that makes this oud super playful and super appropriate for summers. Oh man, you gotta love Orto Parisi for their unshakable longevity, projection, and performance. Those are true monsters, guys. And the one that I'm holding right now is called Megamare. It's a sea monster. To me, this fragrance smells like the ocean during a storm. So it's not your friendly, cuddly, approachable warm sea, but rather metallic, cold, prickly waters of the ocean. It's a very musky fragrance, which has a bit of a dirty skin nuance to it, and of course a massive marine, seaweed, salty overtone. It has that sense of wilderness and free spirit to it. So having said that, this is not a date night fragrance at all. However, I see it as a great choice for a boys' night out. And for some reason, what comes to my mind is a party somewhere on the island, like, you know, island vacation destination. Maybe not Ibiza, but not a while ago I went to Mallorca. So somehow this brings me back to the party city in Mallorca. So if I was a guy, I would probably wear this for a night out on that island. Another monster, this time from the forest. This is Vetyverso from Laboratorio Olfattivo, a fragrance dedicated to vetiver. And I love vetiver note in fragrances, but usually we see it combined with sparkling citrus accord, or we see it as part of a leather scent, or we also see it as a note in a dark, smoky, house on fire type of fragrances. But here it's quite different. I'm showing you a lot of unique stuff today, guys. In Vetyverso, we get more of a meditative vetiver. Although it's super, super bright, but it has that meditative aromatic side to it, with a lot of fresh spices, with a lot of pepper, with a touch of sour grapefruit and bitter orange in the top notes. It's an extremely outstanding and interesting perfume. And I'm gonna say one thing that maybe not everyone will understand, but to me, it's an intellectual fragrance, in the sense that it's not trying to be loved by everyone, but rather it's more of a if you know kind of piece for your collection. This fragrance is for a guy who has a pirate inside him, but pretends to be a nice, civilized man. And jokes aside, it's one of my favorite fragrances from Nicolai. It's called Cuir Cuba. Damn, like, how can you be so classy, fresh, spicy, edgy, all at the same time? It's an amazing work, and if we look at the pyramid here, it's gonna have a lot of notes. We have anise, we have sage, we have a lot of soft, spicy notes. We have a soft floral block here as well, but in a nutshell, Cuir Cuba to me smells like spiced up wet tobacco leaves. And I get a very distinct association with this fragrance, which is narrow streets, a walk down the narrow streets of an old port town, which has a bit of a, like, you know, wet, dirty smell to it, with a smell of rum coming from the local bars. Yeah, that's the vibe of this perfume. It has an amazing cooling effect, but it also works very well as dress to impress type of fragrance. So that's exactly the reason why I'm also including it in today's selection, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. So this concludes today's hopefully non-trivial summer nighttime fragrance selection. I really did my best to include some of the most unique pieces in it and avoid as much as possible the commercial bangers and the fragrances that are all over the internet. Well, except maybe this guy. This I hold dearly to my heart. I could not skip it. But anyway, generally on this channel, we stand by providing you with the most exclusive fragrance recommendations, just to make sure you don't smell like anyone else. I hope you enjoyed this video. I can't wait to interact with you in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You have no idea how important it is for me, for the channel, and for Scentrique. And as always, I will see you in the next video.